Hello friends, family and other creatures of the scene. Welcome back to a best of 3 between two very high level players. Today we have Percival versus Skillis. Skillis, the current rank 20 in the world according to a league lock, and Percival I think is going to be a little bit lower. I want to say between 30 and 40 is where he's going to be placed majority of the time by people as well as by a league lock, I believe. And I am a big believer in kind of somewhat objective statistics, and it feels like a league lock is trying to be that. Like their elo system is quite decent, and I try to, follow their lead. If they say a player is top 20 in the world, then I believe that a player is top 20 in the world. And so we have Skillis opening up here with a Stargate first. This is a very rare opener. Actually, this is probably about somewhere between 3 and 5% of all games right now have a Stargate opener. So we're being treated here to something that is a little bit different. What is coming out of Percival as an early game? We have Reaper Heli, and that means that he wants to deal damage at about 3 minutes and 5 seconds into the game. Battery is not going to be done there quite yet, as we will have 2 units out. No Reaper wall, and Adept on the low ground, Stalker on the high. Here we go. So a couple of things Percival can do. He can try to fight the powers, the Adept plus the Stalker, or he can try to deal with these probes pretty much just by right-clicking them. He's going to go for the Adept first, and now he's going to try to focus down 1 or 2 of these probes. It's not really going to get that much, and I think most of these units are going to be capable of running out of here. Indeed, 1 Reaper and a Hellion do get to escape. We're going to still have a jump onto the high ground. No, back down, back up, back down. I don't think Percival knows what he wants to do quite yet either, but the battery is there on the low ground. We have a Stalker on the high, and the first Phoenix is out already. Follow-up behind all of this is most likely going to be a 4 Marine Cyclone drop. This is a build that has gained a lot in popularity over the past 2 months. It, for a while, even was the standard of, honestly, almost every single Terran player. And then there's just a lot of different follow-ups. I think we're either going to be seeing a Banshee here or a Raven. Let's have a look. Okay, it's going to be Banshee. Pretty much what I had expected as well out of someone like Percival. Percival tends to be the more aggressive type of Terran. He has a 3rd gas coming out here now too. Tech Lab about to finish up. So basically this is like a triple threat here. Like not immediately, but later on. So we first have this 2 Reaper 1 Hellion attack. Then we're going to go with the Cyclone plus Marine drop heading into the main base. Triple Phoenix are going to show up over here, and we'll start fighting against this Cyclone. I'm not sure how good of a fight this is. This seems okay for now. Medevac is going to get taken out here as well, as the Hellion Reaper in the natural is going to take out 3, maybe 4 workers. Battery is pretty much empty. We still have 4 Marines in the main base here too. That's actually going to cost Skillis big time. 7 workers falling. Robo getting scouted. Follow-up here seems clear to me. There's a couple of things that Percival can do. So the most common response behind all of this, so first of all, we see the cloak cancel. I think that is a correct call, because there's going to be an observer on the way. Something that we've seen a lot out of specifically Clam is the moment he scouts Phoenix Colossus, is he'll swap the barracks with this starport. And I'm wondering if that's what we're going to see here as well. There we go. Okay, it's not going to be a swap. It's actually going to be a reactor being constructed on this barracks rather than going for anything here. So it's going to be a Viking tank push. And usually you want to move out once you have between 5 and 7 Vikings. The opponent is going to have between 4 and 7 Phoenixes, 1 or 2 Colossi. And Phoenixes in that amount are incapable of dealing with the Vikings. You don't have charge yet, which means you can't really, just blast on top of the army. It's just a bad situation overall. As one of these Phoenixes is going to get taken out, second Phoenix will fall as well over here. This is just a bad start for Skillis. He lost a lot of workers. He now is pretty much just being hard countered by his opponent. I'm curious to see if this is going to be Stim Combat or if this is just going to be one of the 2 upgrades. I almost feel like you just want to go for Combat Shield and actually head for a double reactor or just naked barracks rather than going for Stim and Combat Shield, because you're going to be hitting much later than you ideally want to. We already have 1. Actually, we have no Colossus out. I thought we already would have a Colossus out, but we don't. That is a bad look here for Skillis. Tries to harass a little bit here as well. That's a couple of workers at least. Now we're going to get this move out. I think this move out timing is actually correct, but he just doesn't have the Marine count that you ideally want. He has 2 tanks. Third one is now following as well, I think, from somewhere. There we go. Vikings trying to zone away these Phoenixes. The Cyclone sets up. Tanks will siege up. And these Vikings just dishing out so much damage. There's really no anti-air here in the mix. No battery either. First Colossus goes down. And that's pretty much going to be it for the Protoss anti-marine force. Phoenix is now trying to commit onto those Vikings. Cyclone helping out against the Immortal as well. The marine count is the only thing that worries me a little bit. But I think there are enough factory and starport units here that it most likely won't even matter. The damage output of these tanks against the Stalkers, landed Vikings are still a possibility as well, as we have more Vikings rallying across the map. First 2 medevacs now on the way, as the 3rd CC is being constructed in the natural. I think Percival here is kind of moving towards a victory. This is why we so infrequently see these Stargate openers. If something goes wrong in the early game, even if something doesn't go wrong in the early game, these types of Viking tank pushes are really tricky to deal with. And that's what we're seeing here right now, as Skillus is going to go for a final stand. But Stim plus Combat Shield, just a single Colossus against loads of tanks and loads of Vikings. And GG is gonna get called. Yeah, Stargate is one of these things right now where you really want to mix it in every now and again. And then every time you mix it in, you regret that you mixed it in. You're like, oh, this would be good to be less predictable, is what you're thinking to yourself, and then you play it and you lose. Like, it feels like that's not really how builds should work. Is that when you play them, you lose. Like, there's other ways to be unpredictable. Like, you just start attacking your own Nexus, which is about the same win rate as Stargate has at this point. I don't actually know if it is really a balance thing, or if it's just if balance... I don't think it's because of any of the balance patches, is what I'm trying to say. I think it really has more to do with just the meta change. Once the Terrans figured out that it can put the starport on the reactor to get 2 Vikings at the same time, all of them just started doing that. And then with these tank pushes, I mean, the problem is just that your charge is so late. Like, you want to have a high Phoenix count against the Vikings, but if you get a high Phoenix count, then you will never get charged, because charge, Twilight Council cost gas, charge cost gas, like, you will never have it in time. You're spending a lot of gas into Colossus, Thermal Lance, Robo Bay, your first and your second Colossus, and none of those really shoot up. So if you cut your Phoenixes too early, it sucks, because then you just die early on. And if you cut them too late, it sucks, because then the opponent can just wait until they have like 8 or 9 Vikings, and you're still not going to have any charge. They're gonna have freaking 40 Marines, 5 tanks, and your army just isn't scaling at all, because you're not transitioning into a real mid-game. So to me, it often feels like there's really no correct way to do it. That's what it feels like to me, at least, as we see Percival's first person. I think it's always interesting to see the first person view of the Terran players of the world. We have a Stalker Sentry coming out of Skillus, and once again a Reaper Heli, and this time it's a hallucinated Phoenix, not a real one. I think Percival's going to be well aware of that. I'd be shocked if he isn't. Here we go. Battery is done this time around. We have a... Jesus Christ, that's a terrible force field. Let's see if we can sneak downstairs to get a bit of healing. No, he can't. Terrible start here for Skillus, really. As he loses his sentry for free, is going to lose at least 1 more worker, but loses 2 more. 4 workers total. Reaper manages to escape. As we see Percival with exactly the same build as in the previous game. He's Reaper Hellioning, and going into a 4 Marine Cyclone drop as a follow-up, most likely into Banshee. We see Charge first coming out of Skillus. This has been something that a lot of Protoss players have been doing as well, where they're saying, hey, what's really fun is if you tank all into my charge push. And then Terrans are like, ooh, that doesn't sound as much fun, but we can try. Yeah, these charge builds, they're very, very popular. The reason for it is because if you play sentry openers, you don't really have... you don't have blink in time anyway for this drop, right? Your blink is going to finish up 4 minutes and 50 seconds into the game. So it's not like it's going to be a useful benefit. But against tank pushes, having charge is a huge benefit. So what they do is they say, okay, I'm going to be weak already against the first drop. Let me be strong against the follow-up, which most likely is going to be a tank type of play. So I love that. It also costs you last gas. This is a really tricky situation that we find ourselves in. Guardian Shield is now going to be activated as well. Do we have energy recharge? No, we don't. We have a Stalker going up in the main base. There is a battery there as well. Thank God there is a battery there, by the way. Without that battery, we would have lost 17 workers here. As, it's going to be capable of unloading her on the low ground. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. It's just flying all the way through to see if there's a third. Is going to see that there's a third. That was built pretty quickly as well. Was this defended off of just 2 gates? Yes, this was a 2-gate defense. Well done here by Skillas. Took a lot of damage in the early game and then said, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to freaking get fast charge. Only 2 gateways, fast third base. Hopefully undo some of that damage that you did to me. As this Banshee is now... What is it doing? What? Is this a joke? Dude, if this Banshee was flying into the third base, that would be big. There's no freaking observer. What is this? Is he... Oh, he just wants to wait until he has doubles? There's going to be observers out, though. Do we have vision of this? Yeah, okay, we had vision of this being cloak. Look at that. And he's not going still. Someone is going to need to explain this to me, because I don't get it at all. We have chart lots out already. We're on 3 gateways. There is a serious marine tank push coming out with this as well. 3 more zealots. So Guardian Shield. I like that. I do like the Guardian Shield. Gonna get Guardian Shield plus a bunch of Stalkers. I guess we're just gonna smash this big time, no? I guess we're just gonna smash this big time. At the same time, though, here comes the double Banshee, but Skilus is ready for it already. He must have seen it with that pylon down here. He indeed did. And now this observer is going to help out. Oh, look at that. Skillas with a very stellar defense. Gonna lose 2, maybe 3 workers. We have another double warping into the main base. Observer's gonna show up over here. And this was about as good a defense as you could have wanted. Only losing 2 workers total. Banshees are gonna be tucked neatly into a corner here. And the Stalker count perhaps is a little bit high, but we're going into Blink. We have a Colossus going out already. This is on 3 gases. I mean, this is as good as it's gonna get, right? This is absolutely as good as it's gonna get. We have the tank here on the high ground as well, so the hallucination is gonna be sent in. I am loving this. I absolutely am loving this. I'd like to have 2 more barracks here. Yep, there we go. And Skillas is in a really good spot right now. Despite losing 7 workers in the early game, I think the cleanup of this push, the 1400 resources, and the resources that have been invested in the Banshee that are now not going to get any payoff because, let's face it, Skillas is ready and in position. I think Banshees are really freaking expensive. Skillas is trying to create a little bit of a ring of vision here on the left side of things. So once this thing finishes, we'll reach up to here. It is up to here-ish. It's going to be a bit of a dark spot in the middle. If Percival decides to go right over there. Oh, you can't make this up. He's exactly gonna go there. Skillas not in position with anything as the boost comes into the main base. Forges are actually fairly exposed here in a vulnerable position. Forge number 1 is gonna be attacked. Stim comes in a little late. Blink is available. Recall is good as well. We're gonna get a blink in forward. That's matter of fact number 2 that's gonna get slaughtered here right now. Okay, for how poorly prepared Skillas was, the outcome here is phenomenal. Takes out all 3 medevacs. Percival has pretty much nothing going on for himself right now. We have a 4th base that's about to finish up. And at this moment, Skillas can already start looking at 5th, 6th bases, or he can try to go for a kill. There's a couple of options you have right now as a Protoss player. He only has 2 Colossi, which is why I'm not hugely fond of trying to go for a kill. If you have like 3 Colossi, a bit more maybe. You also have 2 tanks defensively, but look at the supply difference here. 112 to 132. Very favorable. Very, very favorable for Skilus. As he's going to be moving in. Oh, Stalkers have to pull back here as well. What are we seeing over here? Even bigger warp in. Oh, he's just gonna go. Is he gonna wait for +1 attack? He's gonna at least wait for +1 attack. Guardian Shield in the mix as well, and there we go. Mines are being cleaned up before sending in all of these zealots. 3, 4 mines have been taken out. 1 mine is gonna connect, but there's so many zealots. Guardian Shield is putting in a lot of work, and these Vikings are too late to the party. They were busy trying to deal with an imaginary prism, as we have a blink in forward. This Colossus is trying to deal some damage here as well, but 14 workers have fallen already. Mines are being taken out. Vikings being sniped out of the sky, and GG does not get called. And Skillas wins game number 2. You know, you really can't blame Percival for forgetting to type the GG there. We're all human after all. We all make mistakes. And there's one thing I really appreciate about Percival is that he consistently doesn't GG Protoss players in tournaments. And he does it, you know, in the sunlight. He shows it to people. I feel like that is a level of integrity that some other players, you know, they could take a page out of that. I hate people who don't GG on the ladder, you know, when no one is watching, and then all of a sudden when they're out playing in tournaments and everyone is seeing what they're doing, they type the GG. You know they don't mean it because they never do it on ladder either, and that's less stakes. So I always respect people that are so, you know, so committed to being emotionally immature that they also do it in tournaments. There is I feel like that should be respected. There is something respectable about it, in my mind at least. I prefer it. I prefer it over the fakers, that is for sure. I much prefer it over the fakers. As Skillas here is opening up with a Stalker Warp Gate. That was a no-scout again, wasn't it? Oh, Skillas. You love to see it. It's going to have quite a bit of cash in the bank here, as I think this is going to be a proxy starport. Because it just has proxy starport vibes all around. Was this gas first? Because it's such a late CC. I think this was gas first. I didn't entirely pay attention to the open here, but it feels like gas first. Very quick starport here. Oh, what a position on that starport too. What a position on that starport, eh? Now we're gonna have a small cut here into workers. Look at that. Depot timing. Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful depot timing. Phenomenal stuff. He's going to be capable of throwing down that Hellion behind it as well. Look how well this build is created. Not all builds are created equally, and this one is much better than a lot of the crap we see sometimes happening on our screen. I'd love to see a tech lab here. Not sure if he can afford it. I'm going to trust completely on his judgment. I think he could have afforded a tech lab. It's really tight though. Look at that. He barely didn't have the gas for it, so I guess it would delay his initial medevac a little bit. Let's see what the response is going to be out of Skilla. So he has a battery over here. I'd love to see a battery in the main, but there's actually no pylon in range. No third pylon in range to help with that. He's desperately trying to scout to see what's kicking off. He needs to continue chasing these cars. Ooh, he's actually going to damage these cars a little bit as well. That would have been really good. I think any type of damage you can deal before they enter the medevac is generally good. And here we go. So boost into the main base, I think is the correct play. This is then not the correct play. If there was a correct play and you don't make it, then it's incorrect. It's going to take quite a bit of damage here right now on the medevac. Already bad micro on this Hellion as well. It's going to continue his journey, and indeed the main base is the destination over here. It's going to get a lot of worker kills. This is where he should have gone immediately, I think. But, I mean, it's still completely fine. We have the information that there is a battery here, but if you see just 3 units on the low ground, you know there can't be anything on the high ground. So, yeah, I probably would have preferred that. This still is an okay way of doing it, though. Despite the initial mistaken drop on the low ground, he's going to get 9 worker kills, which is fairly decent. Now, let's not forget that this was a very committed build. I mentioned it before he built the 3rd depot. We saw a small SCV cut. If you do a build order like this and you're hitting no SCV cuts and you have a CC that goes down at 140 instead of at 220, like that is going to be a very, very good start, 9 workers. But because your first CC is so late and you have those worker cuts kind of included in the build order, 9 workers I think is probably the minimum for a game where you're somewhat even. I don't think this is necessarily that great for Percival. He doesn't really have a lot of tempo behind this. He's trying to get Stim out right now. Late 3rd barracks as well. Ooh, I like that. Not a huge fan, by the way, of the repair here. There is a spot here that allows you to heal units for free. It does air units, it does ground units, it does absolutely everything. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess. It is what it is. We're going to go for an 8 Marine drop out. I love this play. Great little play here out of our good friend Percival. We have no vision available for Skillas. If Stim is done already by the time this is, that would have been great. It's not going to be the case. So these are going to be 8 regular, good old regular Marines. No upgrades, no combat, no Stim. There is a dead spot, a dead space here in multiple locations. Oh, he's going to drop and walk, drop and walk, drop and walk. He's going to get 1, he's going to get 2, he's going to get 3, 4, and a pickup. We forgot to pick up there for a second. We get a blink in forward. He wants to leave. Keeps 5 Marines alive. Skillus loses a fair amount of mining time. I think this was a very fair start here for our good friend Percival. At the end of the day, we look at this game and we say, hey, Percival's up in supply, 78 to 66. Worker count is fairly similar. Secondary tech, the first splash stack, is going to be extremely late. Robo-Bage is now going down. It means for the first push, we're not going to have Colossus. We're not going to have Storm. Neither of these options is on the table right now. And with neither option available, I think that Skillus might actually be in a little bit of trouble. He's going to need to pull something out of his high hat. Ooh, 5 Rex is a follow-up. That's a big scout. So all of a sudden, as Skillus, you're way less kind of obliged to fully saturate this base. So you can go for full worker cut here, which is immediately what he does. That was such an important scout. If he thinks there might be a triple CC and you're cutting workers at this point, you're dead if that third CC ever finishes. But if you see that it's 5 Rex, you can all of a sudden start cutting those workers, get as many units out as you possibly can. A little bit of a supply block here for Skilus, which is not great. I'm expecting an SCV pool, but I don't even think these barracks are really going to really add a lot to the SCV pool, as this Marine drop is going to get cleaned up here as well. Can he blink over? He doesn't need to. Blink it to the main, perhaps. There we go. This drop is going to get cleared. At the same time, lots of Zealots are active. This is hitting without combat shield, without +1, without concussive, and without the help of these extra barracks. Percival pretty much handicapping his future SCV pool, because that's what this shoulda, coulda, woulda been. By attacking this early, he thought he had a way of ending the game here, but I mean, these two buildings, that's an investment of around 400 minerals, including the tech labs and the reactor, hasn't really contributed anything to this push quite yet. The lack of a third meant that Skillus was going to build more units. Skillus completely skipped on forges as well as a result of that scout. And now I feel like Percival is pretty much paying the price for going too early. He's down way in supply. Or, well, it's not down in supply, but he's going to be down in supply. In effective supply, what can be fighting here? Because this isn't... like, it says it's even right now, but obviously the Protoss army is going to be significantly bigger, as there's a lot of reinforcements, there's a lot of production in the barracks as well. Like, this is just not good at all for Percival. One stim has already been used. Second stim is going to be used here as well. Lots of Marauders are dealing some serious damage against these Stalkers. Sentry is not in the mix anymore either, as the Liberators now are going to show up. That means that this is going to be pretty much a holding ground for Percival. If he loses this area, he's most likely just going to straight up lose the game, as that is a serious investment into this attack once more. Skillus is just going to be capable of cleaning this up, and although the supply doesn't necessarily look great for Skillus, I don't think the supply is telling the whole tale here. We have 8 gateways, we have 2 Colossus with soon to be thermal on them as well, 4th base potentially, superior mining as well. It feels like Percival keeps trying to finish the game early, while he could have just kind of bundled all of his powers together and gone for one big push at maybe 8 minutes and 45 seconds or 9 minutes and 30 seconds if you want to wait a little bit longer. But he just kept going, never building up that critical mass, pretty much. That critical mass of units, of Liberator, Tank, Mine, which synergizes so well together, right? These siege units and these units that can hold positions. But you keep losing 2 Mines and 2 Tanks and 2 Liberators each time you attack into something. You're never building up that number to deal with high Zealot counts very well. And if you don't have anything to deal with Zealot counts, then Zealots are just going to be too cost efficient. They're going to be too good. Like, the reason why the Zealot doesn't scale so well is because of these types of splash units, of these mines and these Liberator tank positions. And, Observer's gonna see absolutely everything. 5 Stalkers moving into the main base might be capable of sniping one of these medevacs before it finishes. Ooh, this is a tricky fight still. Triple Liberator now sieging up. Marauders are gonna be kiting back for a bad fight. This is a pretty good one. This is a pretty good one. Only a single medevac, however, is remaining. Liberators are going to return back home, and this is going to piss off as well. As you can see, Percival's still not out of it. He, however, is running out of mineral patches to mine from. He needs to pull the SCVs at this point. His medevac count is looking very, very, very poor. A single medevac without any energy. Lots of mines though in the mix as the triple Liberator sieges up. These Stalkers most likely are going to get taken out. But the Zealot, Colossus, Immortal are going to be capable of bursting through the main Bioforce. We have another Stalker warping in coming in as well. 68 workers to 49. Army supply is 58 to 31. So almost double the army supply right now for Percival with good production behind it. Single Colossus is going to be microed here in the prison. Really cute control. It's not really taking a lot of damage. Also not dealing or dishing out a lot of damage. He's trying his best though. If you can take out 2-3 Marauders, you're going to be happy here. Absolutely. Absolutely going to be happy here. Every Liberator and every mine that gets added to this position is going to be a real bad one for Skilla. So he's going to try to break it before more reinforcements show up. Colossus number 3 in the Prism is going to help out as well. And I do believe with the help of this Immortal blasting through Marauders and the triple Colossus, or sorry, the double Colossus, that this is going to be it. As the mining is just way too high right now for Skillis. Percival, he's going to have to tap out relatively soon. Skillis doesn't need to do anything. I think Skillis is afraid of there being a third base here. It's like, oh, I really want to, you know, counterattack and win instantly now that I can. This is actually kind of scary as a result. We see the Colossus trying to target down these Marines. Marauders are doing a good job against the Colossus as well. As, solid control. Mine is gonna get cleared. Oh, do we get a pickup? Hell yeah, we get a pickup. Well done out of Skillis there. These Marauders with the healing of the medevacts are holding their own, but there's so much cash in the bank right now. Colossus number 1 is gonna get cleared. Colossus number 2 in serious trouble. Skillis is really being a bit over-aggressive here, I think. But he just wants to finish his game. I don't know if Skillis knows that there's no third base. It's completely possible that Skilla sends like a zealot to the left here right now. It's like, oh, let me try for a run by. The main base is now gonna be sent over the third base. Prism is gonna go into the opponent's main as well. As base 5 and 6 get built at the exact same time. 10 more zealots on the way. Ooh, this one Colossus. These 2 Colossi, I need to be kind of careful. Just barely out of vision range. Third Colossus is now out. 2 upgrades coming in. Observer as well on the way. Here we go. Get a big stim in forward. 1 Colossus goes down as these mines gonna get some okay connections, but Prism is going to enter the main base. We have a bunch more units being warped in. And here comes the final SCV pull out of Percival, who is getting ready to type that GG. Or perhaps getting ready to leave the game with a good race. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That will be it.